Welcome to another episode of Cooking with Angie. Today, I'm going to go outside of my box and I'm going to bake a cake. One of my friends, Donna Picarillo, asked for Wacky Cake. Now, let me explain what Wacky Cake is. They either call it Wacky Cake or Depression Cake, and it has no eggs or milk or butter. It had none of that thing because during the Depression, it was very hard to come by those items. So it's a very rich chocolate cake. It's delicious, absolutely delicious. We got this recipe from our other friend, Donna Heck, from her grandmother, Mrs. Miller. She made it. She used to make it all the time and gave it to me. She gave it to my videographer, Ellen Herb, who's currently videotaping this episode. So I wanted to shout out to all those people. So the first thing I'm going to tell you is with this cake, and I'll post the recipe so you can have it. As you can see, I have all my ingredients out here on the counter already. I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees as per the instructions. It has to be good and hot when we put it in the oven to cook. Okay, so I'm going to use this pretty bundt pan today, and it's got a lot of grooves. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grease that pan, and then I'll put it on the side. So you can use Pam, you could use the Pam baking with flour or any brand. I just happen to have the original. If you use original, you have to use flour on the pan. If you use a bundt pan, make sure you do the center because it will stick. This cake will stick. If you want to make it totally vegan, you could use Crisco because Crisco is vegan. I'm not sure if Pam is, but okay. So here I'm spraying well the pan and the center. And now this is where I'm going to be messy. I'm telling you right now. I'm going to put flour in there and I'm going to dust it all around. I remember going to Mrs. K's cooking class, and she taught us how to flour the pan. Did I ever really know how to do it? But alright, so I'm putting some in. It doesn't really matter how much. And you're going to take the flour and you're going to pat it around. This darn arthritis. Okay. This is a nice day to have a nice cake. It's a little chilly out, so it'll be good with coffee later on. I love this cake. And I haven't thought about it in a long time until Donna brought it up on one of my videos that she would like to see this. So, again, I will post the ingredients, the exact ingredients. Oh, I'm making such a mess. I'm going to go to the sink. Okay, so that's good. I'm going to put that on the side. I'm going to wipe this flour off. Throw that away. And then I'll be right back here. Oh, here's my towel. Okay. So now, the first thing I'm going to do, now, you know me, I don't really use recipes, so I have to read it. It says preheat the oven, grease the pan, and flour. You could also make cupcakes, it says, or a 9-inch cake pan. All right, so now I'm going to take all of the dry ingredients. I have everything out here, and it's 3 cups of flour. Ooh. I just bent the... This makes a nice cake, okay? Wait. I'm going to do something. Hold on. I'm going to dump the flour into another bowl because it's really a pain in the neck to scoop it out in that bag. Oh, so I have one of these rubber husbands, okay, that I put underneath the bowl so when I'm mixing it, it doesn't slide. You could use a wet paper towel. That'll do the same thing because you don't want your bowl sliding all over the place. This bowl particularly has a rubber bottom, but I still wanted to show you that trick because you know I'm all about showing you. Okay, so now, of course, baking has to be precise. So I have 1. That's another trick I learned. If you're not a baker, you don't know that trick. You take a knife, you overfill the cup, and then you scrape off the top. 2. Okay, you see? See how I have that? Okay. Pat it down, level it off, and you have a perfect cup. Okay, so that's 3 cups of flour. I'll put this over here, out of my way. What else? 2 cups of sugar. I have sugar in the canister. I have more if I need it. And I use the same measuring cup. It's all going in together, so it doesn't matter. So this is white sugar. Okay, we're going to use confectioner's sugar later for the top. But you're going to just use white sugar. 2 cups. Good. And then... that 2/3 of a cup of cocoa. That's what makes it delicious. For all you chocolate cake lovers, I think if you left the cocoa out, you could just make it vanilla, but that would be boring. Chocolate cake is the best, and it's very rich. Okay, again, overfill and scoop and make a mess on your counter. It's okay because that's why we have soap and water. All right, 1, 2. I definitely made a mess, but that's okay. Then you're going to take baking soda. The baking soda and vinegar are going to react, and that's what's going to help. That's what's going to make the cake rise instead of adding the eggs. All right, baking soda, 2 teaspoons. That's a 1/2 tablespoon. Here's a teaspoon right here. Okay. Don't worry, I'll clean this all up. And make sure your baking soda is fresh, because if it's not going to work. Okay? All right, that's 2 teaspoons of baking soda, and let me wipe this off, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I use coarse kosher salt. It just, I don't know. My son, the chef, told me to use it because you can see it when you're cooking. Whereas regular salt, you can't see it, and sometimes you may oversalt if you're like me and don't use measurements. I just wanted to clean that up, and I washed my hands again. And then you're always washing your hands. All right, so we're going to take this. That's all of our dry ingredients, and you're going to mix it up. Okay. Okay, here we go. We're going to... Ooh, it smells so good, that cocoa powder. I am a chocolate lover, so anything chocolate is good for me. Dark chocolate, milk chocolate. Not white chocolate, because that's really not chocolate. That's actually cocoa butter. And I learned that from a chocolatier who happens to be my brother. Okay, so now you add all of your wet ingredients. So it's 2 teaspoons of white vinegar. Don't use wine vinegar. You don't want to do that. Just some nice distilled white vinegar. 1, 2. Okay. 2/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. Back to the measuring cups. I've got cocoa powder in it, but that's okay. All right, we're getting there. One. I have more oil, but I think I have enough for this recipe. Look at that. What I do is I buy the big gallon, and then I fill these smaller jars because it's easier to handle. You know, when you have arthritis, sometimes it's a little tough to handle those big gallons. Okay, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. I hate the way the oil doesn't all come out. Okay, I think I'm done with this. No, I need for cold water. Oh, I should have had you keep that measuring cup down. We put it away. Okay. 2 teaspoons of vanilla. It's weird, right? It's a crazy combination. But if you make this recipe, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Okay? It's very good. 2 cups of cold water. All right, let me mix it a little bit. And I'm going to just be right back. I'm going to go get some cold water from my... water cooler. This way I know it's cold. And it's spring water. You could use tap water. I'm getting really picky in my old age. I'll be right back. This is a great recipe to make with kids, especially their first, maybe their first baking experience, because there's no eggs. So you're not going to have the mess of them having shells or anything inside, and getting egg all over the counter and themselves, the raw egg. So this is great. I mean, then we're going to still make a mess with the flour and everything, but it's not going to be so bad. Okay, so now we're going to mix it all together. Wow, it's looking delicious. Look. It smells so good. Alright, so you beat it until it's smooth. Okay, which is now smooth. Check it out. Nice, right? Okay, I bet you can't wait to taste this. Again, this is so outside of my box. I usually don't bake, but I'm doing it as a special request. Alright, so now you're going to pour it into your pan. Oh, you can't see me doing that. Alright. And my oven's been on for about a half hour, so it's really nice and hot at 350 degrees. And it's going to cook for an hour. Ooh. Yummy. I never realized that this cake was so easy to make. I probably would have made it years ago. I think my kids would have liked it. We'll share it with them and see how they like it. Okay. Okay. So now, another trick from Mrs. K's cooking class is to gently pound the cake on the counter, and you could see all the air bubbles coming up, and it makes a smoother cake. Can you see? Nice. See, Mrs. K was useful for something. Okay, so now I'm going to put it in the oven, and then I'm going to cook it for 30 minutes because I'm using a bundt pan. And then after 30 minutes, I'm going to go in the oven and turn the pan around and cook it for bake it for another 30 minutes. I'm going to check it at 50 minutes to make sure a toothpick comes out, until the toothpick comes out clean. So here we go. I'm putting it in the oven. Oh. And you should always bake on the center rack. Okay, the center height and in the middle of the oven. Okay, so I'm just going to clean up a little bit, and then I happen to have a finished cake so you can see it, because Ellen made the cake yesterday. She's the one that gave me the recipe, and she used the exact pan and did the exact thing that I did, except she probably didn't make such a mess as I did. But whatever. Let me clean this up. Oof. I got stuff all over my mixer. I want to... I'll put this all away later. Okay. And then the house is going to have such a nice smell from the cake baking. And then when you're done, add powdered sugar. You know, you could put powdered sugar. You could eat it plain, put powdered sugar. You can make a frosting, depending on how much, whatever you want to do. If you want to buy frosting and put it on it, it's really, really good with powdered sugar, the best. That's how we always had it as a kid. And I looked up the nutritional value for it. So one slice is only 230 calories without frosting. So it's not a bad deal. So even if you're watching your weight, you could have a slice of this, and it's not going to kill your calorie intake. If you put frosting on it, it's 320 calories. Okay, here it is. I'm gonna get the cake. Look at that. Beautiful. Elle, should I cut this one? And then give you mine? Okay. I'll cut it, and then we can give it a taste. Let me get a plate, a couple of plates. Okay. We'll cut a nice piece. Ooh, nice. Look at that. Whoops. Almost dropped it. Beautiful. Here we go. That's one for Ellen. And one for me. And then I'm just going to cut mine in little pieces so I can give it a taste. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's dense, but it's moist, okay? So here we go. Let's taste it. Just as I remember. Very delicious. I hope you enjoy this recipe. Don't be afraid to try it. It's really good. As you see, it whips up in no time. It took me time because, you know, I was talking to you, but it takes a lot less time when you're not talking to anybody and you're just putting the ingredients in. So, make this recipe. Enjoy it. Thank Mrs. Miller. And that's all I have to say for today. So, I'll see you next time on another episode of Cooking with Angie.